Money fascinates us. It's a human nature. But opting for the right ways to make money is a real thing that doesn't seem to be the case with everyone. There are these dangerous teens out there who commit violent murders just for the sake of money.
They were teenagers when they were convicted for their role in the 2015 murder of an Albuquerque man in his driveway.
Children and teens are considered the symbols of innocence and purity. But it doesn't seem to be the case any longer as we take a sneak peek into some of the devastating murder incidents done in cold blood. Whether it's their family member or a friend, all they wanted was money. That's how dangerous the lust for money can get. How come these teens committed the violent crime of killing their family members? What pushed them into this horrible deed following their outrageous agendas? Were they less humane than others? Let's find the shocking answers in today's video as we reopen the files of these unreal murder cases done in the hour of trouble. But before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Also, don't forget to press the bell icon so you can receive all the news and updates at the earliest. Without further ado, let's dive in. This is the case with the glamorous city of Sao Paulo, one of Brazil's richest cities with more than 4,000 millionaire families. Everything from facilities, wonders, and financial opportunities to other resources are at every corner of the city. The same was the case with the happiest von Richthofen family of 4 members until the misfortune landed in their courtyard in the 2000s. The leading member, Manfred Albert von Richthofen, had a sparkling career in succession engineering. He had a big project in the company where his job was to direct the construction of roads leading out of the city. Her mother, Mauricia, also had a successful career as a psychiatrist, yet she couldn't sense the outrageous psyche of her children. Her profession made her generous, kind, and famously friendly with everyone. She married Manfred in the 1070s after they fell in love with the university. They became the happiest parents of a daughter, Suzanne, on November 1st, 1983. Around 4 years after his birth, she had her younger brother, Andreas. The kids had everything one could wish for a good life. They had a loving family, financial stability, a good education, and everything they could wish for on their table. Suzanne was the politest and soft-spoken girl throughout her school. She graduated from a German high school before the family shifted to Brazil. There, Suzanne went to the Pontifical Catholic University of Sao Paulo to study law. The teen desired to opt for a money-making profession, but one wonders why. Her father was a millionaire. He had a net worth of 17 million euros and some extra million in his other bank account. It later revealed that the money saved in Swift's account was in Suzanne's name and meant for her after her studies. Then what was this eagerness for money that became a thing to wonder for Suzanne? The roots of the tragedy started rising in 1999 when Suzanne's younger brother Andreas developed a passion for model airplanes. In the recent exhibition, the family met a passionate 19-year-old model airplane builder, Daniel. The younger asked his parents if they could pay Daniel to teach him his skills, and that is when Daniel started coming to the von Richthofen house. Soon, Suzanne and Daniel fell in love with each other, which became a social colliding story between the two belonging to different classes. Suzanne had all the luxuries and necessities of life. However, Daniel was a poor guy who dropped out of high school and began his life as a mechanic, along with his brother Christian. However, Daniel pretended to be a financially stable guy in front of Suzanne's family so that he could stay in the rich house. Finally, Daniel got exposed in front of Suzanne's parents. They didn't want their daughter to date him anymore as he didn't match their standards. But Suzanne was head to toe in love with Daniel, and she kept dating him despite all the hatred from her parents. Suzanne's parents went on a 1-month-long trip to Europe in 2002. Meanwhile, now the 18-year-old, Suzanne called Daniel to come and leave at her place. They got involved in adult activities, alcohol, and more. Andreas tried to cover her sister as much as he could. When the parents arrived, they found out everything. The father was furious over her daughter. Suzanne begged her to buy her an apartment where she and Daniel could live happily. The father said, "You can do whatever you want unless you do it with your own money." He also threatened her to cut off her facilities. Despite listening to her father, Suzanne and Daniel came up with a hilarious plan. In November 2002, the whole von Richthofen house was in screams, but what happened that night? Suzanne and Andreas left for a night out, and when they reached back at 4 a.m., they found the dead bodies of their parents. They were killed during their sleep, but the manner is undescribable here. On investigation, it came out that the robbery also took place in the house that night. However, a few rooms were left untouched. That was a matter to be concerned about. There were no alarms beeped that day. It means whoever entered the house has unarmed the security alarm. And who could do it better than the person who knows where the system is and how to control it? The children were desperate. Andreas got panic attacks 2 to 3 times. Suzanne was sobbing calmly. Her calm behavior got the attention of detectives. She was even so childish that she threw a pool party just 3 days after the incident. Did she think the detectives wouldn't notice? How could she be so easy with such a horrible incident happen to her at such a young age? Soon after the incident, Daniel's brother Christian bought a new bike for more than $100. Yes, the mechanic. The detectives took the bike into custody and went on investigation with Christian. He confessed to the murder of von Richthofen and his wife at Daniel and Suzanne's instructions. Yes, sometimes the kids can be this dangerous for their parents. But what was the motive? The freaking 17 million euros Suzanne would inherit after her father's death. They both got arrested. Suzanne confessed, but still didn't admit that money was the motive. She said she wanted to live happily with Daniel, but her parents could never accept. But is it even love? Such a silly justification to grab public sympathy. Suzanne was left free for 4 years of her trial. During this phase, she tried to grab the sympathy of the world by faking her emotions and blaming Daniel for everything that had happened to her parents. After 4 years, the trial of Daniel, Suzanne, and Christian began. Further investigation turned out to be more devastating. It revealed that on the murder night, Daniel and Suzanne didn't go to the mortal. They dropped Andreas at the party and went back home with Christian. Suzanne disarmed the alarms, and Daniel performed the murder with his brother Christian. They faked a robbery to fake the murder. And then the couple went to a hotel. Yes, they had their time just minutes after committing such a devastating act. Suzanne never apologized for her misdeeds. She kept on blaming Daniel for everything. On July 22nd, all 3 were found guilty. Daniel and Suzanne received 40 years of imprisonment, and Christian received 2 years less than them. She has been giving stupid arguments and debates on her criminal act, but all of her appeals have been rejected. Her younger brother Andreas was left with a traumatic life. He even spent sufficient time in the mental hospital. That's how one evil act by a teen left a deep scar on this world.
A teen sentenced to probation for his role in the murder of a beloved Albuquerque bartender has messed up again.
Where we find interfamily cases of violence, there are these teens who also think they can take anything they want, even from strangers. Just like the hilarious teens like Jeremiah King and Rodriguez Christoph did. They were teenagers when they were convicted for their role in the 2015 murder of an Albuquerque man in his driveway, says the newscaster.
They were teenagers when they were convicted for their role in the 2015 murder of an Albuquerque man in his driveway.
It was the murder of Steve Gurecki that caused complications for a group of teenagers, among whom these 2 victims were one of them. Steve Gurecki was a bartender at the Spectator's Bar in Albuquerque. His friends and family members said he was kind and friendly. He was even nice to strangers, but strangers returned him with something beyond the loss, the death. The month of May 2015 was devastating for Steve. He was returning to his home from his duty at Spectator's Bar when he caught a few teenagers getting out of his home after committing robbery. Steve confronted them, and suddenly, one of the teenagers pulled the trigger in Steve's chest. He was killed cold-blooded at nighttime for what crime? That he was trying to protect his home and valuables? The 6 teenagers left laughing, leaving Steve helpless, dead on the road. His best friend Joni found it mesmerizing to cope with the incident. She was too close to Steve for about 41 years. It's been devastating. I don't know what I'm going to do without Steve. He was such a giving person. He would do everything and anything for anyone, says Joni. Steve's daughter revealed that her mother was inside the house that night. Steve saved her by confronting the teenagers before they could continue the burglary. The ages of these teenagers will shock you. On investigation, Christopher Rodriguez turned out to be 17, Jeremiah King to be 16, Ryan Archibeki to be 16, and Andrew Hubler to be only 15. However, 2 others were merely 14. Following their crime, their sentences have been so light. One thing that makes it complicated is the fact that all 6 teenagers robbed the house, but only 1 pulled the trigger. Then, who is more to blame? For such reasons, they were offered many deals. One more thing here is on that night, the teens didn't only target Steve's home. They did burglary at several other houses, cars, and streets. And all they ended up with was a havoc of laughter. When Jeremiah King was taken to the court, he kept smiling at the cameras. This 16-year-old teen was the one who pulled the trigger that night. Yet he was remorseless, had no guilt on his face, and seemed to enjoy the spotlight. He was sentenced to 25 years behind bars.
25 years behind bars. That's how much a teen killer got today. It came even after the family of Jeremiah King got up in front of a judge and told him the teen killer was not a monster.
On his sentence day, he apologized to his family and promised to be a good guy in prison. But in 2019, he got intimate with another prisoner, which was undisciplined behavior. After Jeremiah King, his friend Christopher Rodriguez was also sentenced to 14 years of imprisonment.
18-year-old Christopher Rodriguez will spend 14 years behind bars for his involvement in Stephen Garrick's death.
He also gave an apology to the court. But in the prison, his attitude kept on getting problematic. During the trial days, he even showed his finger on the camera while sitting inside the 4 walls of the court. They still show no change in their behavior, but they seem to keep on the track they were on before they went to jail for their criminal acts. Who knows, teenagers at the age of touching life and feeling it to the fullest can be as hilarious to take a life and laugh at it, and yet still not be guilty of what they have done. It sounds unreal, but yes, we have many such cases out there that can shake the foundation out of your soul. All we get to know from such cases is not every kid is a kid we call an innocent one. What is your take on these hilarious incidents committed by teens? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Till the next time, take care.